Hello friends, this is Sharon from Natural Awakenings magazine, and today we are joined once again by Dr. Julie Monica, and we're going to talk about soup. It's winter, it's warm, it's delicious, but it can also be a packed powerhouse of nutrition. So Dr. Julie, thank you so much for joining us again, and please tell us more about wonderful soup.
Hi, Sharon. How you doing?
Doing great, how are you?
Wonderful. I'm so glad to be talking about soup. I'm getting a lot of interaction with my patients, and I see things online and I read things. So yeah, soup is fantastic because it's this hot, satisfying dish in a bowl that we can have, and we can make it home. When we make it, I tell everybody, make a lot. Don't make what you're eating. Make several servings and use your freezer. Have it a couple times, maybe again in the week at some point, and make use of it. So it really is such a good thing to put together, to be healthful and to have and to depend on. And it's hot. And here in the Northeast right now, we're loving that. So let me, as I'm always speaking about a metabolic aspect of soup, how to keep it nutritious and how to keep the macronutrients proportioned well to, to create positive body composition. And so I'm just going to kind of sit here and describe with you what we do with soup. Let me just say right off the bat, I really encourage my patients to not eat soup out. Remember, most all the soups, especially like in chain places that we all know what those are, they're using things that make the soup have a better consistency, which most of the time employ starches. And there's other stuff in there that just makes it so that the soup isn't maybe as healthy as it appears. Sometimes though, my patients will say, well, what about a cup of, for instance, something healthy soup? Well, a cup is not a lot, and that might be okay. But far and wide, I like to see people make and keep your soup at home. Okay, so jumping right in, let's start. There's three major components of the soup. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one that I've been getting the most amount of buzz on, and that is collagen and broth. And how is that in the soup? So they're different. Okay, let's start with broth. Broth really is a liquid that is made from boiling meat and sometimes bones or the combination thereof with things like a carrot, celery, and perhaps even some spices. It gets strained out and you get a nice broth that is typically something that we would drink on its own. I love broth. It's a great thing to have on its own, and it's also super for soup. Actually, when you have all those things in a pot, you're really making the broth as you would make the soup, because the soup would have all of those things in it. Next, stock. What's the difference? Stock takes a long time to cook, isn't really done as the soup is done, can't really be done that way, and it's more hours, I believe, at least 6 and more hours of making it, of simmering water with bones. Okay, it has to have bone, and that makes it that makes it stock.
What if I do it in my Instant Pot?
Because it goes faster.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, because that's what I do. I do it for 2 hours in the Instant Pot.
Yeah, whatever.
Make sure
Right.
that's enough time.
Translates. Yeah, use I'm telling you, I have said in some of the other videos, you have to go and look at all these beautiful machines that are out there, because they make our nutritional life even better. Love that idea. So yeah, so I just wanted to point out that that's how they do stock. And what's the difference also functionally, or really as you're eating it, it can be thick, and because it has collagen, because it's the bones and there's more collagen in the bone. Collagen comes, remember, from joints, and it comes from cartilage, and it comes from bones. There you have the collagen. It's going to be a little bit more gelatinous, okay, as it cools especially. So it really is good for gravies, thick gravies. Back in the day, that's how we would make them. Can it be in a soup? Absolutely. And you've made your soup at home and it's pretty funky. It might get a like a something over the top, and you have to kind of heat it up for all that to melt. But that, it looks like fat, and it kind of has that appearance, but it's a lot of gelatin, and boy, is that good for you. And that is the bone, that's the stock, like a stock-ish. So they kind of can intertwine a little bit. Collagen. Obviously, that's different. So they take out the gelatinous portion, and in a lot of these products, it's a more refined, just the powder in the product, and you can scoop it in, and you can add it to a soup. And do I like that? I love it. Remember, a lot of the portions, a lot of the scoops are up to 20 grams of protein, a protein serving for anybody. And when you add that to the soup, a lot of things can happen. It's not really affecting the taste that much, but you can make a vegetable soup, put that in there, and know that not only did you get your vegetables, you got your protein. So yeah, it's a good, and collagen, you know what? It's one of those things that it's very popular. It really does. It has an anti-inflammatory quality. It's good for your gut. And I know these two things aren't even the biggest deal, that people really are seeking out collagen use to yes, have their joints feel better, and drum roll, to make their skin better. And it does all of those. So it's a nice product, and it's really something that works, and that is good for us. And I love good things in place of bad things.
Mhm.
So that is, I jumped right onto the stock. So that's one of the ingredients. That's a big deal because of things like collagen and the broths we can make, and the liquid of the soup. That's part of it. You know, sometimes just having, like I said, I love the broth. Sometimes less is more. So let's move on. What's the second thing? Well, let's go to what's really, to me, the first thing. And what is that? You all can guess. My patients certainly can. I always want to know, when I ask a patient, what's for dinner? What do people say? Chicken. What's for dinner? Steak. I want to know the vegetable name. I want to know you're having broccoli. Okay. I want to know that you're having squash. So now, the same thing with the soup. It's the bigger fraction, okay? And what is it? It's going to be, first and foremost, your veggies that we're all used to, okay? Like a mirepoix. What is mirepoix? You all know what your mirepoix is. It's that cut up celery, carrot, and onion, okay? And that goes into the soup, and that's a wonderful thing. It's a great base. It's a French name, and I guess they use that for almost everything when it comes to a soup or a stock. And that's a great start. You can also do your own. You can fudge that a little bit, and use very small cut up turnips, and different root vegetables. I think that's great.
Mm.
Um, that's second. These are the veggies you're going to use, okay?
Trinity and the Pope, if you like a Cajun flair.
Ah,
Garlic, pepper, onion, and celery.
wow. So,
Mm.
oh, that sounds really good. I like that. So now, with that, if we're at home cooking, what's the second thing? It's a two-part deal, everybody. You put in those chopped vegetables, like I just explained. You got to add that green leafy, because
Mhm.
remember, we want to have volume in the soup. We want to make it a meal, okay? So yeah, those are beautiful, and you might put a lot of the chopped vegetables, and you can do that, okay? But I like to put in a green leafy as well. I just like it. I always love my greens, and that's how I do it. So we're talking kale. We're talking spinach. Of course, spinach has a strong flavor, so be careful which soups you put it in, okay? Kale takes a little longer to cook. You might even want to steam it up before you even put it in your soup, because as you think you're gonna time everything and you're gonna do a one pot deal, what happens is it still is kind of crisp, the kale. And my go-to that I love, because it cooks up easy, it's available, and it's almost on the sweet side, is escarole.
I was going to
So
say escarole.
yeah, I love it, and that's what I use in the soups. So again, the gist is, you're using your chopped up vegetables, and you're using a
Mhm.
green leafy, and that is the bulk, the bigger fraction of your soup.
Making
Okay,
so
and you have your soup broth, your liquid. Okay, what's next? Well, everybody, we're gonna add the protein. So I'm gonna start right off with the fact that, things that are looked over that taste so good in soup, and that's tempeh. So a nice roasted tempeh is really good. It's a healthy form of soy that is just extremely available, and it comes in a lot of different flavors, if you will. Um, the day I bought one, and it had sesame seeds on it. It's delicious. I put it on my salad. But that's really good in soup, especially if you're not too used to it. It really melds well with the veggies. Okay. So, And of course, your cut up cubed chicken, even your steak. And I think something that a lot of people, when I do recipes, and in the past years, I have made soups with chopped meat. Oh my gosh, it's really good because it gives it a real thickened quality. Um, what else can we use? People use all kinds of different things. One of my favorite soups, though, that's really healthy is a stracciatelle, and that's a soup that is, of course, we start with the stock. Okay, we put in spinach. It's specifically supposed to be made with spinach. Okay, I cube up chicken small, and I put in a lot of garlic. So we're doing garlic and olive oil. We're putting in the stock. We're using the spinach. We are using chicken. You can also do, we're minus the macaroni because traditionally it would be over macaroni. We're using, what we do is we put tiny little meatballs in just to dress it up. We've already got the chicken. And at the end, what we do is we crack an egg, and it's very hot, and you're doing the egg. And so it becomes like an egg drop with the spinach, with the garlic, and then you top it with cheese, Parmesan vegan cheese. Oh my gosh, excellent. Even your vegan chicken and the meatballs, we find them all in a vegan version if you want, or you don't have to. Either way, this is an example of a very healthy soup that has a little tradition to it. Okay, how about let's make a chili right now? Let's make a chili. So now we're going to do you're definitely going to start off with stock. It's a little different, okay? Now, my trick to chili is, everybody knows this, if you're a cook and you've made chili, you got to get that right spice. You got to get the chili spice. So don't fool around. Either look up how to make it and make sure you have the ingredients, the cumin and the so forth. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know that it makes chili. So you're going to have that. We're going to start off. We're going to have our stock. We're going to have really traditionally, maybe the broth is what we're really going to have. And we're going to have, many people are going to use either ground turkey or ground beef. But what goes in, Doc? Because chili is beans, and that's a lot of carbs, and we're not doing the carbs. And what's the deal? What works out great for the chili is buy the very big chunk tomato. You can even buy it with vegetables. It comes like it just with a smattering of vegetables for flavor. So now you have that, and the next thing that you add to that is buy your green pepper and cut it up and use some nice green pepper. So we've got green pepper, we've got the chunks of tomato, and we have the broth, and of course the meat and the chili spice, and you're not missing out on anything. And patients have made it, they brought some in, and it turned out excellent. So that's a really good trick. And again, that's a soup-like meal that you can have, and it's really quick to make. And you can keep it. Remember, I tell all my patients this too. When you go to the grill and you're cooking something that you want, don't cook one serving, cook many so that you can put in the refrigerator. You have stuff for the week. Maybe you have stuff for your freezer, and certainly for that chili or even your soups. So that's my short and the long of soups, is just the 3 ingredients. And that's a good broth that you might even eat on its own, okay? How to use the collagen, that's many people are having it, or mostly in powdered form. There's other forms, but it can be added to. It doesn't really give you a lot of backbone for the soup, but it can be added as a nutritional protein addition. You can do the vegetables, absolutely. You're going to have to, because remember, that's our bigger fraction, and it usually is in 2 parts. I usually do chopped, and I find some kind of vegetable that I want to use in that's a green leafy, and then the protein, and that is soup.
I love it. Right now, I have the escarole soup that I made in the freezer, ready to go. And I'm like, oh, I need a fast meal. And the egg. I've been doing a lot of the egg in the soup lately.
Oh,
I
isn't
got
that
so
good?
excited when you said that. I love it. I love it. It just takes
Well,
on.
I have to say,
Yeah.
I do that. I do that as a fast meal. I have to say, and I just want to share this, that you can buy some beautiful, organic, pre-washed, pre-cut spinach. I dump that in there, I have to say. And I've got my garlic, of course, at home, and there's some olive oil. It's a really quick dish. And you use the egg, and it's the whole gist of it is good amount of olive oil, which is good, and a good amount of garlic. That really makes it. And when you talk about escarole soup, I love escarole so much too that all I'll put in as well, you're just reminding me, is the lots of escarole, lots of garlic, and also to put in you can touch that up with a little something, maybe some chicken, or maybe you would do meatballs, or maybe nothing. You
Mhm.
know, I put in the salt and I make sure that my broth is really good. And again, I can eat it straight like that. It's very simple, very straightforward, and wonderful.
Very satisfying. You've made me so hungry. And now I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make that. Like all
Yeah.
these things I'm going to make this weekend.
Well,
So,
everything I said, you could turn, what vegetable? I mean, I don't think I mentioned cabbage. Oh my gosh, cabbage soup, please. Get out there, and everybody, so many people understand the value of cruciferous vegetables. Put in a soup.
mm,
So, and you shred it, and it's just too numerous of the different types of things that you can do with the cabbage. I like a little hot in there.
mhm,
So I forget the recipe, but it has to do with Thai. It's a Thai kind of addition of sauce, and
mm,
I use that, and I just go through the same things. And I do probably I've added onion, and again, I don't even add, I'll do, now that's a good soup to do collagen, because it's less meat, it's faster. And again, soup can be fast, when of course I think we used to think of soup as not fast.
right.
So what we're talking about right now is fast.
Hmm. Thank you, Dr. Julie. I'm starving now. And I look forward to our next conversation when you are going to educate us even more about more things good for us. And appreciate your time. Everyone, eat more soup.
Remember, better outcomes from better intakes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Julie.
Bye-bye.